In the silence before dawn, when the world holds its breath, a warrior awakens, not to battle another but to conquer himself. The ancients of Japan believed that the greatest victory is mastery over one's own mind. Like steel tempered in fire, the human spirit is forged through discipline, shattered in failure, and reforged stronger than before. This is the essence of Hagane no Ishi, the will of steel. Every bad habit, every weakness, every hesitation is a layer of rust upon your blade. To live by Kaizen, the way of continuous improvement, is to polish that blade daily, until it reflects clarity, purpose, and strength. This is not a single strike, but 1,000 patient cuts. So, if you walk this path with me, comment Kaizen below, subscribe, and join our brotherhood of warriors who choose progress over comfort. Together we rise, one disciplined breath at a time, until the ordinary becomes extraordinary. You are not broken, you are simply unfinished. The forge is waiting, the time is now. Awareness, the mirror of the mind, is the first and most vital strike in the art of self-mastery. Before a warrior can change his path, he must first see where he stands. Many people drift through life unaware of their habits, driven by impulses born of comfort, fear, and repetition. Awareness is the blade that cuts through illusion. It is the moment when the fog clears, and you finally see the battlefield of your mind. Every bad habit hides in the shadows of unconscious action. The hand that reaches for the phone, the mind that seeks distraction, the mouth that justifies excuses. But when you become aware, you bring light into that darkness. You begin to see that your habits are not chains placed upon you, but links you have forged yourself, one choice at a time. Awareness is not judgment, it is clarity. It is standing before your reflection and seeing every flaw, every scar, and every strength with open eyes. Only then can transformation begin. The samurai practiced a discipline called zanshin, a state of total awareness even in stillness. It was not mere attention, but a living presence, an alert calmness that noticed every movement, every sound, every intention around them. In modern life we have forgotten this art. We are surrounded by noise, notifications, and endless distractions that dull our senses. To awaken awareness today is to become still in a world addicted to motion. It means observing your thoughts without judgment, recognizing the moments you fall back into old patterns, and catching them before they control you. When you raise awareness, time itself seems to slow. You notice the urge before it becomes an action, the thought before it becomes a decision. That moment of awareness is your first act of freedom. It is where the battle against habit is truly fought and won, not through resistance, but through recognition. Think of awareness as the mirror you hold to your inner world. When that mirror is clouded by denial or distraction, you cannot see clearly what needs to change. But when it is polished by mindfulness, reflection, and honesty, you begin to see every subtle movement within yourself. You see the triggers that lead to temptation, the emotions that give birth to repetition, and the excuses that whisper you back into old patterns. Most people fight habits blindly. They strike at the smoke instead of the fire. But awareness allows you to trace the spark back to its source. You begin to understand why you do what you do, and that understanding transforms reaction into intention. The Japanese call this process hansei, deep self-reflection that leads to improvement. It is not self-punishment, but self-study. The warrior who knows himself cannot be defeated by his own mind. To live with awareness is to live awake. It is to walk through life with open eyes, alert not just to the world, but to the silent movements of your own spirit. Every day becomes training. Every conversation, every craving, every choice. You start to see how awareness shapes your destiny. You begin to notice that success and failure both grow from the soil of small, repeated actions. This is the foundation of Kaizen, to improve not through force, but through awareness and small, deliberate steps. Awareness makes you the observer and the master of your own behavior, It gives you the power to pause, to decide, and to choose differently. And in that pause lies your greatest strength, the ability to forge a new habit, to rewrite your pattern, and to transform your life, one conscious moment at a time. Discipline, the edge of the blade, is what separates the dreamer from the doer, the wanderer from the warrior. It is the force that transforms vision into action and habit into mastery. Without discipline, awareness remains a spark with no fire to sustain it. The samurai understood this truth deeply. A blade left unsharpened rusts, no matter how noble its steel. In the same way, a mind without discipline decays under the weight of its own comfort. Discipline is not punishment, it is devotion. It is waking each day with purpose, even when comfort calls louder than your mission. It is doing what must be done, not what is easy. In the way of Bushido, discipline was sacred, for it gave the warrior structure, honor, and strength. Every repetition, every act of restraint, every moment of consistency sharpened their spirit. When you live with discipline, you forge your life like a sword, through fire, repetition, and the refusal to yield to weakness. True discipline begins in the unseen moments, the seconds when no one is watching, when the mind whispers to rest, and the heart must answer with resolve. The modern world tempts us with instant gratification, shortcuts, and endless distractions that dull the will. Discipline is the antidote to that poison. It teaches you that real strength is not in bursts of effort, but in quiet persistence. Like the steady hammer of a blacksmith, discipline shapes character through repetition. The Japanese word shitsuke, meaning self-discipline and order, reflects this mindset. It is not forced upon you, it is cultivated from within. Every time you resist a destructive habit, you are tempering your spirit. Every time you follow through on your word, you are sharpening your inner blade. Discipline is the unseen training that builds unseen power, the kind that no circumstance can break. But discipline is not rigidity. A true warrior's discipline is alive, flexible, and intelligent. It understands balance. When to advance, when to rest, when to adapt. To practice discipline is to dance with structure, not to be caged by it. The samurai trained with both precision and grace, knowing that the mind must remain calm even under intense structure. In life, this means holding yourself accountable while staying compassionate toward your growth. Discipline should not crush the spirit, it should strengthen it. The path of Kaizen teaches us that improvement is gradual, not instant. Discipline honors that rhythm. It teaches you to show up, to stay consistent, to keep sharpening even when progress feels invisible. Over time, the edge of your discipline becomes so sharp that resistance itself begins to fear you. Living with discipline transforms everything. It makes your words sacred, your habits powerful, and your mind unshakable. The world respects those who embody it because discipline radiates quiet confidence, the kind born from inner control. Each day you live by discipline, you reaffirm your identity as a warrior, not a wanderer. You begin to see that freedom is not the absence of rules, but the mastery of self. When you can command your actions, your emotions, and your focus, nothing external can control you. That is the edge of the blade, the cutting force that divides the weak from the unbreakable, the passive from the purposeful. Discipline is not a temporary effort. It is a lifelong code, and those who live by it become living proof that the human spirit, when forged through discipline, can cut through any obstacle, any habit, and any limitation. Consistency. The rhythm of Kaizen is the silent force that transforms effort into excellence and intention into identity. It is not built in the fire of a single decision, but through the quiet repetition of daily action. The samurai did not master their sword in one battle. They mastered it through a lifetime of deliberate, disciplined practice. Every stroke, every stance, every meditation was part of a sacred rhythm, a harmony between body, mind, and purpose. Consistency is this same rhythm. In modern form, it is the heartbeat of transformation. In a world obsessed with quick results, consistency whispers a timeless truth. Small steps, taken daily, create unshakable strength. The philosophy of Kaizen, continuous improvement, is not about perfection, but progress. It teaches us that the smallest positive action, repeated enough times, shapes destiny. Consistency is the invisible thread that weaves discipline and awareness into mastery. Without it, all efforts fade like sparks in the wind. The Japanese craftsmen, the takumi, embody the power of consistency. They dedicate decades to perfecting a single art, pouring their soul into repetition until it becomes instinct. To the untrained eye, their actions may look ordinary, but in truth, each repetition refines the spirit. This is the rhythm of Kaizen, a devotion to daily practice that transforms mediocrity into mastery. Consistency demands patience, for its rewards arrive not in days, but in seasons. It is the slow growth of a bamboo tree, unseen beneath the earth until one day it rises tall and unshakable. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, you align yourself with this timeless rhythm. The warrior who trains every day, even when uninspired, builds a strength far beyond the reach of those who act only when motivated. Consistency is loyalty, not to results but to the path itself. To live with consistency is to live in harmony with time. It is understanding that greatness is not born in grand moments, but in quiet persistence. Many lose their way because they mistake boredom for failure, or slow progress for no progress at all. But the rhythm of Kaizen teaches that even a single stroke, when repeated with awareness, changes the shape of your destiny. When you move consistently toward a higher version of yourself, you begin to feel a sacred momentum, an energy that flows through every habit, every thought, every choice. The Japanese term renma means to polish by repetition. This is the essence of consistency, to refine, to smooth, to perfect through steady practice. The forge of self-improvement does not roar with fire every day. Sometimes it glows softly, but it never goes out. Consistency is the difference between effort and embodiment. When your actions become rhythm, you no longer chase discipline, you are discipline. It becomes your nature, your identity, your heartbeat. Each small act compounds into power. Each habit becomes part of who you are. This is how Kaizen transforms life, not through force but through rhythm. The samurai did not train for a season, they trained for a lifetime. Their strength was not in intensity, but in constancy. When you choose consistency, you are declaring to the universe that you will not waver, that you will rise, repeat, and refine until mastery is inevitable. And in that steady rhythm, your life becomes art, your habits become harmony, and your purpose unstoppable. Patience, the warrior's silent strength, is the stillness within the storm, the calm between the strikes. In the pursuit of breaking bad habits and mastering the self, patience is not weakness, it is power restrained. The samurai understood that every blade must cool before it can harden, that rushing the process leads only to fragility. Likewise, the path of self-improvement requires time, endurance, and faith in unseen progress. In the philosophy of Kaizen, patience is the soul of transformation. True change is not a sudden explosion, but a slow, steady unfolding. The modern world glorifies speed and instant results, yet the greatest growth happens in silence, in the moments where nothing seems to move. The warrior who masters patience holds a strength that outlasts any burst of passion, because patience is endurance woven with purpose. It is the art of trusting the process, even when the results have yet to appear. In the old ways, Japanese swordsmiths would spend months, even years, forging a single blade. They knew that the secret to strength lay not only in fire, but in waiting, allowing the steel to rest, to breathe, to settle into perfection. This is the same principle that governs patience in the journey of Kaizen. When you plant the seed of new behavior, it does not bloom overnight. It roots itself slowly, invisibly, beneath the soil of discipline and awareness. Most give up before they ever witness that first sprout. But the patient warrior endures the waiting, for he understands that time itself is a teacher. The Japanese call this Gaman, to persevere with dignity and quiet strength. It is the spirit of enduring hardship without complaint, holding the line until transformation reveals itself. Patience is also an act of wisdom. It is seeing beyond the temporary discomfort of effort and recognizing the long arc of progress. Every habit you try to break will test your patience, whispering that it's not working, that it's easier to surrender. But patience answers with silence and steadfastness. It reminds you that mastery is not built in moments of motivation, but in those of resistance. When you feel the weight of time, patience becomes your armor. It shields you from frustration, from doubt, from the illusion that slowness equals failure. The samurai meditated daily, understanding that stillness itself was training, a sharpening of the inner sword. Through patience they cultivated shin, the spirit, calm, focused, unyielding. To live with patience is to wield time as an ally rather than an enemy, allowing each moment to refine rather than rush you. The rhythm of Kaizen is slow, deliberate, and eternal. Patience allows you to move with that rhythm rather than fight it. Every setback, every pause, every delay is not a step backward, but part of your forging. Just as the blacksmith's hammer and the cooling water both serve the blade, so too do struggle and stillness serve your growth. Patience transforms failure into feedback and delay into discipline. When you embody patience, you no longer chase results. You attract them through endurance. It is the quiet confidence that your effort will bear fruit in its own season. A warrior's patience is not passive. It is active, waiting. A readiness maintained. A will unbroken. So when the path seems long, remember, the mountain tests the climber not to stop him, but to strengthen him. The warrior who endures with patience discovers that true strength is not in how fast he ascends, but in how unwaveringly he continues. Reflection, sharpening the inner sword, is the sacred art of turning inward to confront the truth within. Just as a warrior polishes his blade to keep it keen, the mind must be polished through reflection to remain clear and focused. Without reflection, awareness fades, discipline hardens into rigidity, and consistency drifts into repetition without purpose. The Japanese concept of hansei embodies this, a deep and honest self-examination that transforms failure into wisdom. It is not about guilt, but growth, not about shame, but understanding. Reflection allows you to step back and observe your own path, to study the patterns that drive your actions, and to realign them with your higher purpose. Every day is a mirror, offering lessons to those willing to look. The samurai would meditate at sunset, replaying every thought, word, and deed of the day, sharpening not their sword, but their spirit. This practice was not an act of self-criticism, but of refinement. For a dull mind, like a dull blade, cannot cut through the illusions of weakness and fear. Through reflection, the warrior learns to see with clarity rather than emotion. He does not run from his flaws. He studies them as a craftsman studies cracks in the steel. This is the essence of Kaizen, small, continuous corrections that keep the spirit aligned with its purpose. Reflection is what transforms experience into wisdom. Without it, we repeat the same mistakes, thinking we are moving forward when we are simply circling the same mountain. The Japanese saying, "Nana korobi ya oki," fall 7 times, rise 8, speaks to this truth. Each fall is not failure, it is feedback. Reflection allows you to rise stronger because you understand why you fell. When you reflect with honesty, you strip away the armor of ego and face the reality of your own mind. It is uncomfortable but necessary, for only those who face their inner shadows can truly master their life. Reflection also demands stillness, a pause in the noise of modern life. The samurai would find such stillness in the ritual of seiza, sitting in silence to commune with the self. In that quiet space, the mind reveals its hidden truths. You begin to see that every habit, every reaction, every decision stems from an inner story you tell yourself. Reflection helps you rewrite that story. It teaches you to replace self-judgment with understanding and mindless reaction with mindful choice. The more you reflect, the sharper your inner sword becomes. Not through aggression, but through awareness and balance. You start to notice how each thought shapes your reality, how each emotion can either cloud your judgment or refine your focus. Through reflection, life becomes your greatest teacher, and every challenge becomes a lesson in disguise. To reflect is to honor your journey, to bow to both your victories and your wounds. It is a reminder that progress is not only measured by how far you've come, but by how deeply you've learned. Reflection bridges the past and the future, allowing you to step into each new moment with greater wisdom. The rhythm of Kaizen depends on this quiet recalibration, the willingness to look inward and refine the soul as much as the skill. The warrior who reflects regularly does not fear correction. He welcomes it, for he knows that self-awareness is the highest form of strength. Every moment of reflection sharpens the edge of intention, polishes the armor of purpose, and strengthens the spirit's resolve. The outer battles of life are won first within, and the warrior who learns to sharpen his inner sword through reflection walks through the world not with arrogance, but with quiet, unbreakable clarity. Adaptability, flow like water, endure like steel, is the art of surviving every storm without losing your form. In the path of transformation, rigidity is the enemy, for the world is ever changing, and only those who bend can rise again. The samurai understood this truth deeply. They trained their minds not only to fight but to flow, to move with precision in chaos, to remain composed when everything around them shifted. In the philosophy of Kaizen, adaptability is the living heart of progress. It teaches that no matter how strong your discipline or consistent your effort, growth demands flexibility. A warrior who cannot adapt becomes a prisoner of his own habits. Water has no fixed shape, yet it wears down the hardest rock. Steel bends under pressure, but returns stronger when forged correctly. To embody adaptability is to harmonize both the fluid grace of acceptance and the unyielding strength of endurance. This balance transforms obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. The Japanese term mizo no kokoro, the mind like water, captures this perfect state. It is a calm, reflective awareness that responds to challenges without resistance. When water meets an obstacle, it does not fight, it flows around, over, or through it. This is the mindset of adaptability, to remain fluid in spirit even when your surroundings are harsh. Life will test your plans, shake your habits, and break your expectations. Win Shuba. To suspend your expectation. The adaptable warrior does not crumble. He adjusts his stance, finds new rhythm, and continues forward. Kaizen thrives on this very principle. When something no longer works, refine it. When life shifts, shift with it. Adaptability is not about surrendering control. It's about mastering response. The untrained mind reacts impulsively, but the adaptable mind responds intelligently. When you move with flexibility instead of fear, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of progress, where change becomes your ally, not your enemy. Adaptability also means humility, the courage to admit that your current way may not be the best way. The samurai who trained under new masters understood that wisdom is endless and pride is poison to growth. In our modern world, adaptability asks you to let go of perfectionism and embrace learning. It is knowing that failure is not final, but feedback from the universe. Every time life changes course, adaptability allows you to adjust your sail rather than curse the wind. The Japanese concept shuari explains this evolution beautifully. Shu, follow the form. Ha, break the form. Ria, transcend the form. Adaptability lives in this dance between structure and freedom. You learn the rules, then learn when to bend them. You respect the tradition, yet remain open to innovation. The warrior of Kaizen understands that what matters most is not how tightly you hold your methods, but how fluidly you adjust them in the pursuit of mastery. Missionaries say, importantly, how much you adjust them in the pursuit of mastery. To live with adaptability is to embody resilience in motion. It means holding your purpose steady like steel while letting your methods flow like water. The storms of life will come, change, failure, loss, uncertainty, but adaptability allows you to move through them with grace instead of resistance. The rigid break, the adaptable evolve. Like a tree that bends with the wind, your flexibility is your strength. Adaptability transforms fear into curiosity, chaos into creation, and endings into new beginnings. It is the secret rhythm of all lasting success, to learn, to adjust, and to endure. The warrior who embodies adaptability never truly loses. For every shift, every challenge, every fall becomes a lesson that strengthens his spirit. Flow like water to move through life's ever-changing currents. Endure like steel to remain unbroken at your core. This is the spirit of Kaizen, alive, evolving, and unstoppable. Purpose, the fire behind every strike, is the force that gives meaning to every action, the invisible flame that fuels the warrior's journey. Without purpose, even the sharpest blade dulls, and the strongest will falters. Purpose is the spirit's compass, pointing the warrior toward a life of direction rather than drift. In the philosophy of Kaizen, purpose is the core from which all improvement flows. It is the why behind every repetition, every sacrifice, every disciplined breath. A warrior without purpose is like a sword without a wielder, sharp but aimless. The samurai called this inner flame Ikigai, one's reason for being. It is the harmony between what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what brings meaning to your existence. Purpose transforms struggle into strength and routine into ritual. It turns the grind of daily effort into a sacred act of self-creation. Without purpose, habit is hollow. With it, every act becomes art. The fire of purpose must be kindled daily, for even the brightest flame can fade if neglected. The samurai maintained their purpose through loyalty, to their code, their master, their honor. But in the modern path of self-mastery, your purpose is your own banner to carry. It is not given to you by others. It is forged through reflection, discipline, and endurance. Purpose is what wakes you when the world sleeps, what drives you when comfort whispers to stop. It burns quietly, yet fiercely, reminding you of who you are and why you began. In moments of doubt, purpose steadies the hand. In times of struggle, it reignites the will. The warrior of Kaizen understands that progress without purpose is motion without direction, and motion without direction leads only to exhaustion. Purpose gives every small improvement weight, every challenge meaning, and every setback perspective. To live with purpose is to live with intention. Every action becomes a deliberate stroke in the art of self-forging. The samurai never swung their blade without clarity. Each strike was an expression of spirit, guided by intention. This is the same principle we apply when aligning our daily habits with our deeper mission. When you act from purpose, the mundane becomes meaningful. Waking early, training, studying, creating, all become extensions of your greater vision. The Japanese say, Ishin Denshin, heart to heart, mind to mind, a reminder that purpose connects every part of you, thought, action, and emotion. It integrates your life into a single direction. When your purpose burns bright, obstacles lose their power, because your why becomes greater than any how. The flame of purpose does not eliminate hardship, it transforms it into fuel. Like fire consuming wood, it turns challenge into energy, pain into power, and effort into growth. Purpose is not a destination. It is a living flame that evolves as you do. It must be protected, fed, and refined through every stage of your journey. As you grow in awareness and discipline, your understanding of purpose deepens. It begins as a spark, perhaps a desire to change, to overcome, to become more, and with time it becomes a steady fire that guides your every step. The samurai knew that without fire, steel cannot be forged. Without purpose, the spirit cannot awaken. Purpose is what makes patience bearable, consistency sustainable, and discipline meaningful. It is the quiet roar inside that says, "I will not stop here." To live with purpose is to live lit from within, unshaken by chaos, undimmed by failure. The warrior who moves with purpose does not merely act, he creates. His life becomes a weapon of meaning, and every strike he makes, in work, in love, in struggle, burns with the fire of intent. The eternal path of self-improvement is the summit that can never truly be reached. Yet the climb itself is what defines the warrior's life. To walk the path of mastery is to accept that perfection is an illusion, but progress is eternal. The samurai lived by this truth, dedicating their lives to the endless refinement of body, mind, and spirit. Every day was training, every action a lesson. The Japanese concept of shokunin, the craftsman's spirit, embodies this devotion. It is the relentless pursuit of excellence, not for recognition, but for the honor of the craft itself. In the philosophy of Kaizen, mastery is not a final destination, but a continuous evolution, a commitment to grow, learn, and refine, no matter how skilled you become. The true warrior does not seek to conquer others. He seeks to conquer his yesterday. Each dawn becomes another chance to polish the blade of the self, sharper, steadier, stronger than before. Mastery demands humility. For the higher you climb, the more you see how far the path stretches beyond you. The samurai trained with the awareness that every technique could be improved, every strength could be deepened. This humility is what protects mastery from arrogance. The Japanese call this attitude kensho, the seeing of one's true nature. A recognition that mastery is not about dominance, but understanding. The master remains a student forever, endlessly refining his craft with patience and gratitude. In the way of Kaizen, mastery is achieved through small, consistent improvements layered over time. Each repetition adds weight to your skill. Each mistake becomes a teacher, and each success a reminder to stay grounded. The mind that chases perfection burns out. The mind that honors progress endures. Mastery is not loud. It is quiet confidence, the calm assurance of one who knows his worth, yet continues to grow. To live the path of mastery is to live with discipline, awareness, and purpose fused into one. It is to see the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. The samurai's sword was not powerful because of its beauty, but because of the spirit that shaped it. The hours of unseen labor, the devotion to balance and precision. Likewise, your habits, your craft, your purpose are forged through unseen effort. Mastery is not a moment of glory, it is the quiet repetition no one sees. The Japanese idea of Kaizen reminds us that mastery is a rhythm, a daily harmony between striving and stillness. Some days progress feels invisible, but mastery teaches you to trust the process. Each deliberate act, no matter how small, adds another layer of strength to your spirit. Like waves polishing stone, consistency and patience refine the soul until it reflects the brilliance of dedication itself. Mastery is not found in reaching the end, but in falling in love with the journey. It is the peace of knowing that there is always another level, another depth to explore. The master's heart is unhurried, his mind unshaken, his will unbroken. He walks the same path every day, not out of obligation, but devotion. This is the essence of Do the Way, the lifelong path toward balance and wisdom. When you embrace mastery, you transcend comparison and competition. You no longer chase applause, because your work itself becomes your meditation. Every effort becomes sacred, every challenge a gift. The warrior who lives by mastery understands that the true victory is not in achieving more, but in becoming more. And so he continues, polishing, refining, evolving, knowing that mastery is not the end of the journey, but the journey itself, infinite and eternal, like the flame of Kaizen that burns forever within. And so, warriors, as we stand at the edge of this journey, remember this. The path of Kaizen is not a race, but a rhythm. It is the quiet, unwavering commitment to become a little better each day, to sharpen the mind, temper the heart, and strengthen the spirit. The samurai did not seek glory in one battle, but mastery in every breath. You too carry that same fire within, the will to rise, to evolve, to forge yourself through awareness, discipline, consistency, patience, reflection, adaptability, purpose, and mastery. Life will test you, tempt you, and try to break your rhythm, but a true warrior never stops refining his blade. Every stumble is a lesson, every delay a teacher, every victory a reminder of your strength. This is your forge, your life, your spirit, your way. If you choose to walk this path, walk it with honor, humility, and unshakable will. Comment Kaizen below if you stand ready to embrace this eternal journey of growth, and subscribe to remain among those who choose progress over comfort, courage over fear. Together we rise, one disciplined breath at a time, warriors forever forging ourselves through the philosophy of Kaizen.